Hey there, just wanted to remind you to run Mystic Tower Veda in your free time. With the current content released, completing levels 1 to 100 should be a breeze on auto battle, and I'm fairly certain that there are some people who have already completed this. I didn't do this initially since I wasn't really interested in the gear, but then I actually looked at the Veda coin shop. Gumi updated the gear shards available, and now it features some very useful gear. It's definitely something that you should look at before you pick a gear from the gear selector. In this video, I'll be going over each gear that is featured, and I'll eventually talk about the one that I will go after. Directive Projection is a decent dagger for dagger-wielding units. This includes Thieves, Shadow Assassins, Rider, Strice Job Plus, and Meliodas. It increases the physical attack by a respectable amount of 40, agility by impressive 10, and the irrelevant health increase. It also has another skill that's only exclusive for Sabaretta, which would be good if Sabaretta was actually a better unit. Crowley Sword can be equipped by anyone wielding, wait for it, a sword! At max level, it increases the unit's physical attack by a high 50, the physical defense by a OK 20, has an overshadowed health increase, and has a better chance than the last gear to inflict daze. When equipped on Zeke, it gives him a skill that releases a flying slash on a single opponent. Unfortunately, it can only be equipped on Zeke's Holy Cavalier job, and not his Dark Cavalier. As a result, it's rather weak in physical attack. Furthermore, Zeke, while being better than Sabaretta, is overshadowed by the plethora of powerful, farmable light-type units. Atomic Jaeger is a bow that pales in comparison to the one received from Ryle's Vision Clear reward, but regardless, it has a nice effect that it gives a 25% chance to lower the target's agility by 10% when attacking until the start of the enemy's third turn, but it's not enough to make up for its low stats in comparison. While the bow has a respectable 40 increase in physical attack, it has a low dexterity increase of 25. Archers rely on both physical attack and dexterity to determine their attack power. It increases the chance of your attacks hitting, but half the time, most players just use a skill with 100% accuracy instead. On the other hand, it has a nice skill that can interrupt the opponent's casting twice. But the downside is that the area of effect is a small cross and actually inflicts less damage than a normal attack. Revolutionary Tact is a weapon that is exclusive to Magic Meisters and Zwei's of Beast Shadow Master job. By the way, I don't have Zwei. Once maxed, it raises the unit's magic attack by 50, dexterity by 40, and their maximum amount of jewels by 20. At its peak, it has the skill to absorb jewels from enemies directly around that unit. Whenever you conduct a normal attack with it, it has a 30% chance to gain a 25% increase in magic attack for 4 turns. This is an excellent gear for Magic Meisters, considering that most of them stick to normal attacks after defeating enough enemies with their clever charge passive. The one problem is that most people don't use Magic Meisters anymore, even though they've received job enhancements. While they do see some play, they're really only used in niche situations, since half the time it's better to stick with a higher damage dealing job while using Magic Meister's additional benefits as support. Yggdrasil Shield is an armor gear that increases a unit's physical defense by a notable 50, and for some reason increases their physical attack by 30. There's also an insignificant increase in health, but the real reason to go after this gear is because of its additional skill, where the unit can give themselves a guaranteed guts buff. It's really useful for diviners, who can deal incredible damage with their oddly named max flash wind speed. Bleaching Cod Necklace is an accessory that increases agility by 10, a unit's critical hit rate by 20%, and dexterity by 50. Once evolved, it has a passive ability that activates the moment the unit enters the battle, raising their slash and strike resistance by 30% for 3 turns. I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss this gear. Though the increase in agility and dexterity seems unimportant, the increase in dexterity is actually really significant. I don't care much for the passive ability, and to be honest, I'd prefer if it increased the unit's attack for 3 turns instead. I mean, it's called the Bleaching Cod Necklace. Curious Doll has been an old favorite since its release. It increases a unit's luck by 25 and the amount of jewels that they obtain by 50. It also increases a unit's health by 390, which is a nice boon. Furthermore, it gives 10% resistance to any elemental attack, making a nice way to boost your unit's viability on the field. I have 5 of them, and they still occasionally see some use. Wonder Chronos is an incredible gear that can increase a unit's health by 431, its agility by 5, and boost their resistance against delay by 50%. Delay is one of the more disruptive afflictions, just because of how dangerous it is for a unit to be unable to move in time. But the most spectacular part of this unassuming gear is its ability when evolved, as it can give an ally and the unit itself the quicken status. something that is shared by excellent support units like Nyx and Rahu. Of course, all this additional stuff on the side is nice, but isn't really necessary. If you really want the equipment, then feel free to splurge, but I'd really prioritize the gear. The gear shards will really depend on you. I find them super useful in upgrading my gear, but I have enough gold gear shards that I don't really need to farm them right now. I don't recommend spending on the silver or bronze gear shard since most of the better gear starts off as a 4-star or is featured during a farmable bow event. If you're a beginner, I do recommend getting the gold gear shards, as you may find them really useful in the future. You don't have to be stingy with them, but don't just use them for any old gear. I believe that players should prioritize getting the Wonder Chronos, then the Kiri's Daw, the Yggdrasil Shield, the Bleaching Cod Necklace, the Revolutionary Tact, the Crowley Sword, the Atomic Jaeger, and the Directive Projection, in that order. I'm placing the Crowley Sword over the Atomic Jaeger since its stats can be far more effective on another unit that isn't a Holy Cavalier. The Atomic Jaeger faces stiff competition from other bows, and if its skill were stronger, then I would prioritize that. If you already have one or more of these gears, feel free to shift your priorities around. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. Comment below on anything that I might have missed, or if you have a strong opinion on this event as a whole.